you
Yeah.
guys probably know, but like eating disorders are the most lethal, like the highest mortality rate of psychiatric conditions.
I did not know that.
They are really dangerous,
Wow.
and it is like not something to mess with. And so I take that very seriously
Mm.
in my practice. I hope everyone listening does.
Yeah.
Um, and and we live in this world, of course, right, that has historically idolized, not historically always, but
Always.
in
Yeah.
recent times, particularly like the last 30 to 40 years, has really idealized thinness and,
Yeah.
leanness and these sorts of things. So there is a lot of pressure on people,
Mhm.
of course, to attain a certain body image. And
Mhm.
we know that people are more likely to get promoted, more likely to make more money at their jobs, get the
It's all
job,
true. Mhm.
all of those things. Like there's plenty
Mhm.
of data that exists that
Yeah.
people in smaller, thinner bodies have better social status.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there is a drive for that. And I think we have to acknowledge that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the GLP-1s can be misused to help that.
Yeah. And I do
on
think
the book.
something to consider that I've thought
Yeah,
about.
absolutely.
There we
It is,
go.
everybody.
Yeah.
Got it.
Something to think about is since I've been doing this work and met different people that struggle with different ways, there are people who do have, disordered eating outside of like the binging, right? Or purging or anything like that, where they may be in a small body, but they're like, my food noise is out of control.
Yeah.
And this helps me.
Yes.
And I think that's something.
Like mine was so strong. And we talk about that.
Yeah.
Kim, like mine was, yeah.
Yeah. Like I think it's something to think about when to get away from. And again, this is something for sure I was guilty of in the beginning, of looking at somebody to decide if they are deserving or worthy of this medicine. And
Mhm.
ultimately, I'm trying to, at least from like a patient side perspective, change the narrative or drive home a different narrative, which is this is a treatment for a disease
Yeah.
and a dysfunction and a disorder. And your body may not look the same as somebody else's. And so we do have to quit doing that, because if a doctor says like that it makes sense, then it does. And I think like we do that though. We all do it. But I have met people who've been like, this has changed my life. I
Yes.
can eat like a normal person again, and I am not plagued with noise, and I'm
Yes.
healthy and I'm normal.
Yes.
And they struggle with the same thing, whatever that thing is.
A couple years ago, I gave a talk when GLP-1s were like really sort of just, coming on the scene in a major way, on the mental health implications of GLP-1 use for the National Academies of Sciences. And in that talk, I'll never forget, I said, my prediction is that people will stay on a GLP-1 whether or not weight is indicated or lost,
Mhm.
just for the food noise relief.
Yes,
Like that is a real thing.
absolutely.
And if we could figure out how to help people with that independent of body shape and size, because I have clients that need to come down on their GLP-1 because of too much weight loss, but are like afraid of the onslaught of the food noise, right? And like, how do you juggle that? It's really complicated.
It is really complicated.
Yeah.
We have seen some of the doctors talking about coming down and then combined therapies, right?
Yes.
Like adding in another anti-obesity medicine while taking a GLP-1 to kind of balance out the noise, right? But I think that like that's this whole side that in terms of maintaining the weight that we still are figuring out. Like I still bounce around on doses trying to figure this out,
Yes. Yes.
Not to mention if you add in everything else like stress and friggin' perimenopause and menopause and all these other things that affect weight, right? And affect hunger.
Depression, anxiety, relationship struggles, parenting, like caregiving,
jobs, right? Like life, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's definitely something we see a lot of. And I'm wondering, like, when people come to you and they're talking to you about like how they feel around like the relationship with food, do they ever talk about like when they're on GLP-1s, like what their relationship is like, talking about the experience with food with their family? And the reason I ask that is because I remember when I first started versus now, keep in mind my whole family's on GLP-1 now. But when I first started on this medicine, I remember people seeing when I would get my plate, like at Thanksgiving, and, everybody's like potluck, right? Everybody's like making something and bringing something. And if you don't eat much of their food, they think you don't like it. And they it's in the South anyway. They like take
We're
personal.
like them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which means you don't like them, right?
Yeah.
And the hard work and the love that they put into it, right? Because again, like there's so much emotion tied to food, And I think like I'm wondering like how other people have dealt with that, or maybe if you have had people maybe that had surgery or on GLP-1 or help them cope with that, because I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, I'm just full. Like I'm just full. And it was, and look, I'm in this big old body and they know me better. They know I don't get full, And so it was like, and then it's like, okay, do you have to tell them, or what are they going to say? Are they going to GLP-1, And like, I'm wondering if you have had experience that with your patients, and if you have any tips during the holidays that people can.
Oh my gosh. So yes, number one, boundaries are totally okay.
Yeah.
And I remind every single one of my clients, and I'll remind the two of you, awesome women sitting here, boundaries are for you, not against them. Let that sink in for a second, because we are so worried about hurting other people's feelings or making them feel any particular way. But boundaries are really about us. So saying, I'd really rather not talk about that, is perfectly reasonable. Like that is okay. Okay. So number one, like figure out what boundaries feel right to you. Some people are like, bring it on. I want to talk all about it. Right.
Clearly.
Other people are, and that's again, going back to this idea that like you come to treatment with your own history, your own personality, your own stories, your own lived experiences. Like you can't just say this is what's going to work for everyone. Right.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to think about what boundaries work for them. And then I think like the antidote to shame is self-advocacy.
Yeah.
When we learn to stand up for ourselves, it really does begin to chip away at the decades of shame that builds up. And so figuring out how you want to self-advocate, right? Like I am making a different choice this year. It's what works for my body right now. Or like,
that's a good way.
Yes, I'm using a medication. Like whatever feels okay to you.
I love that.
But give it some thought. Like, don't be surprised. The thing I always say to my clients, like, we see the train coming down the track. We have time to make an adjustment, right? So, if you're going over a holiday gathering with family that has historically had a lot to say about your body shape or what you eat or what you don't eat or how often you're eating or like how many things you've tried, then like think about it ahead of time so that you're armed. Practice. Really, really practice so that it just comes out naturally and you don't like get flustered and nervous and shut down, because then you just feel terrible, right? But if you sort of go in armed with like, oh, I don't really want to talk about that. I'm here to like enjoy this time. And then you just move on.
Yeah.
It kind of dissolves over time, right? But if you're caught off guard, it's like then you end up sort of pressing your boundary in a way that doesn't feel good. So I do actually work with advocates about the mental health side of advocacy, because anytime we tell our own stories, we have to have awareness of like how far we're willing to go, what our guardrails are with this particular group of people that we're going to be talking to. And over time, like you guys have been at this for a couple of years. You've probably shared more and more and more over the years, because you sort of figure out like, okay, I went to this boundary. I felt okay. I'm willing to like go to the next boundary and feel okay. And it's really important that people think about that ahead of time and set their boundary, because the worst thing is giving more than you plan and then being in the shame spiral about that.
Yes. Oh, that's so true.
Ruminating afterwards, like
I'm an oversharer. So
I'm
like, oh, I said too much. I said too much. It
feels so bad, right?
I think is that the ADHD sometimes? Like I really do wonder. I'm a middle child. I definitely I am like an extroverted introvert though, but there are times where there's an introvert inside me saying, "Shut up!" So yeah.
But so I honestly, Kat, like if you know that about you and you have a particular thing that you want boundaried, just practice.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's amazing how much it helps.
Hearted about.
Yeah.
She does this thing with me, like she did it today, because she's just like, we get along with everybody. She did today. I was like, you know what we need to do? We did this. And she goes, wait a minute.
I did
We
do
just
that.
talked about how we're going to do less of this. And now you're saying we're going to do all these things. Remember we said we're going to do less?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, like, so it is interesting, like, because she's usually like the life of the party, get everybody happy, bring everybody together, but every now and then she's like, so she can do some good boundaries. Sometimes I
Yeah.
get my tips from Boundary Land from Kat.